All right, so imagine, just imagine, machines that could actually outthink us
Yeah.
in every possible way.
In every way.
From like writing incredible music that just makes us, feel things,
Yeah.
to solving those scientific problems that we just can't seem to crack right now.
Right.
That's kind of the whole idea of artificial superintelligence, or ASI.
That's right.
So I think it'd be good to maybe start off by what actually is ASI?
Yeah, so when we talk about ASI, it's not just that AI is a little bit smarter than us.
Right.
It's like way smarter than us, like across the board.
Okay.
So every kind of intellectual task that we can imagine,
Right.
it can do better.
Okay, so not just like calculations and stuff.
Right.
Like actually.
No, it's like being more creative. It's like understanding the world better.
Right.
It's basically every cognitive ability that we have, but just amplified.
Okay. So I think it'd be good to lay out like what we're doing today. So, obviously we've got a bunch of different sources about this whole ASI thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess our mission today is really to figure out what ASI could actually do.
Right.
When we might actually see it.
Right.
And like what that all means for, us, like the whole world, really.
Yeah, for the whole world.
Right. And we'll be looking at this through, a bunch of different perspectives, like through the UN.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll also zoom in on Germany specifically.
Okay.
Because they're, a big player in all this.
Yeah, definitely.
So to kick things off, can you maybe just like give a little bit of background? Like, how did we get here to this point of even talking about ASI?
Yeah, so I think it's helpful to kind of like trace the evolution a little bit.
Okay.
We started with ANI, artificial narrow intelligence.
Right.
So this is things like, Siri or Alexa or, like AlphaGo that can beat the world champion at Go.
Right.
Or these new language models.
Like GPT-4.
Like GPT-4, yeah.
So those are all really good at very specific tasks.
Right, narrow tasks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we move on to AGI, artificial general intelligence.
Okay.
And this is where it starts to get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because AGI is basically an AI that has the same level of general intelligence as a human being.
Okay, so it's like a real thinking mind inside a computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So AGI would be able to like reason and learn and understand the world in the same way that we do.
Right.
And it could apply that intelligence to a whole range of different problems.
Okay, so it's not just good at one specific thing.
No, exactly.
Right, it's like learn anything.
Yeah, it could learn anything.
Okay, that's a big step.
Yeah, that's a big step.
And then, so where does ASI come in?
So ASI is like the next level up from AGI.
Right.
It's not just a little bit smarter. It's like fundamentally more intelligent.
Okay.
So it surpasses us in every way, including like the things that we think make us special.
Like creativity or social intelligence or whatever.
Right.
And so that's what makes ASI so like mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's like we're talking about something that's way beyond us.
Way beyond us.
And you mentioned earlier this idea of like ASI improving itself.
Yeah.
Can you maybe unpack that a little
Yeah.
bit?
So one of the defining features of ASI is that it could learn and adapt and evolve completely independently.
Wow.
So, like, it could constantly be refining its own algorithms and getting smarter and smarter on its own without any human input.
Right. And this is what leads to this idea of an intelligence explosion.
Right.
Where ASI's capabilities just like skyrocket.
It's like exponential growth, almost.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think people listening are probably like,
Yeah.
Okay, what could this thing actually do?
Yeah, so the potential capabilities of ASI are pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like, it could process and understand huge amounts of information.
Right.
Like, way more than any human could.
Yeah. And it could make connections between, like, totally different fields.
Yeah.
And solve problems in ways that we just can't even imagine.
So it's like hyper-efficient problem solving.
Yeah, hyper-efficient. And, like, it wouldn't be limited to just, like, logical thinking.
Right.
It could be creative.
Uh-huh.
It could have social intelligence. It could even, like, understand and respond to human emotions.
Wow.
So, like, we're talking about something that could potentially be more well-rounded than any human being.
Okay, so it's not just like a supercalculator.
Yeah.
It's like it's
a mind.
It's a mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think one of the big questions is
Yeah.
when? Like, when could this actually happen?
Yeah, so the timeline is a bit uncertain.
Right.
But we do have some predictions from experts.
Okay.
So, like, Sam Altman from OpenAI, he thinks AGI might show up as early as the mid-2020s.
Wow. So that's like...
really soon.
Really soon.
Yeah.
Like in the next few years.
Yeah. And then Elon Musk, he's even more...
aggressive.
Yeah, with his timeline.
Yeah, he thinks machines could be smarter than humans by 2026.
Wow.
And then you've got Dario Amodei from Anthropic.
Okay.
He's saying AGI by 2027.
Okay, so we're seeing, like, a lot of people pointing to this, like, very near future.
The very near future.
Yeah.
And then Shane Legg from Google DeepMind, he's still sticking with his 50% probability of AGI by 2028.
Right.
So, like, a little bit later.
Yeah.
But still within the next decade.
Right.
And then you've got Jeffrey Hinton.
Okay.
One of the pioneers of AI. He's saying ASI could happen in the next 5 to 20 years.
Wow, okay.
So, a bit of a wider range there, but still, like, within our lifetime.
Yeah.
And then Ben Goertzel from SingularityNet.
Okay.
He's got a prediction from 2024 that said AGI would be here between 2027 and 2030.
Okay.
And that it would quickly evolve into ASI.
Right.
So there's a lot of variation.
Yeah. But a lot of people are pointing to the next decade or two as being pretty crucial.
Right.
And then there was this survey of AI researchers.
Okay.
And they said there's a 10% chance that AI will be better than humans at most tasks by 2027.
Okay.
And a 50% chance by 2047.
Right.
So, like, a bit more spread out.
Yeah, more of a gradual...
Yeah, but still, the point is, like... It's coming.
Yeah.
Whether it's in 5 years or 50 years, it's something that we need to be thinking about.
Okay, so let's assume for a moment that this does happen.
Yeah.
Are there, like, any potential roadblocks?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, what could prevent ASI from becoming a reality?
So one thing is just the sheer amount of resources it would require. Like, we're talking massive amounts of computing power, energy storage.
Data.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And bandwidth.
So it's like a logistical challenge.
Yeah, it's a huge logistical challenge.
Okay.
And then there's the fact that ASI would rely on data from the real world.
And that data can be messy.
Yeah.
It can be incomplete. It can be biased.
Yeah, it could be wrong.
It could be wrong, yeah.
Right.
And then there's this whole issue of control.
Right.
Like, how do you control something that's way smarter than you?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, and this is where the alignment problem comes in, which is, like, the biggest challenge.
Okay.
It's basically, how do we make sure that ASI's goals are aligned with our goals?
Right.
Like, how do we make sure it doesn't accidentally do something that harms us?
Because, its goals could be entirely different from ours.
Completely different, yeah.
Right.
And it might not even realize it's harming us.
Wow. Okay, and are there other challenges too?
Yeah, so there could be limitations in the hardware itself.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we just can't build computers powerful enough.
Right.
Or there could be limitations in the algorithms. Like, maybe we just don't know how to create an AI that can truly learn and understand, like, a human.
Right.
And then there's the question of, like, creativity.
Right.
Like, can we really create an AI that's truly creative?
That can, like, come up with new ideas?
Yeah, new ideas, new solutions that we've never thought of before.
Right. Okay, so these are all
big challenges.
Huge challenges, yeah.
Yeah.
But let's say for a second that we can overcome these challenges.
Okay.
What kind of impact could ASI have on the world?
Oh, man, the impact would be huge.
Yeah.
Like, it could affect every aspect of our lives.
Okay.
So, like, let's start with climate change.
Okay.
ASI could be amazing for this.
Okay.
It could analyze all the data, figure out the best solutions.
Right.
Maybe even come up with new forms of energy
okay.
that we haven't even thought of yet.
Right, so it could help us solve this, like, huge global problem.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, but I guess there's also the potential downside of, like, the energy that all these AIs would use.
Yeah, that's a valid concern.
Right.
AI does require a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that it's being used sustainably.
Right, okay. So let's move on to poverty.
Yeah.
What could ASI do there?
So ASI could help us understand poverty better, like by analyzing data. And it could help us come up with more effective solutions.
Okay.
Like better ways to distribute resources or new ways to create jobs.
Right.
Or maybe even personalize education.
Wow. Okay.
To give people the skills they need to escape poverty.
But I guess there's also the concern of, like, if jobs are being automated,
Right.
that could actually make poverty worse.
Yeah, that's a risk.
For some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to think about that carefully.
Okay. And then healthcare.
Healthcare is another area where ASI could have a huge impact.
Okay.
Like it could help us diagnose diseases more accurately,
Right.
develop personalized treatments,
Okay.
discover new drugs, and even monitor our health
Right.
in real time.
Wow, that sounds like a major revolution
It could be.
in healthcare.
But of course, there are ethical concerns here too.
Right.
Like making sure everyone has access to these technologies.
Right. Equitable access.
Yeah.
And then, I guess, privacy as well.
Privacy is huge, yeah.
With all that health data.
Yeah, so we need to be very careful.
Right. Okay. So beyond those specific issues, what about the bigger picture? Like, what about the economy as a whole?
So ASI could completely transform the economy.
Okay.
Like it could lead to massive economic growth.
Okay.
Because it could automate so many tasks.
Right.
And it could make everything much more efficient.
Right.
But of course, that means a lot of jobs would be lost.
Right. So it's a double-edged sword.
It is, yeah.
Okay. And what about science?
Science could be revolutionized by ASI. Like it could help us make breakthroughs in all sorts of fields.
Right.
Like medicine, physics, biology, you name it.
Right. Because it could analyze all this data.
All the data.
That we just can't process as humans.
Exactly. So it could really accelerate scientific progress.
Okay. And then technology itself.
Yeah. Technology would obviously be massively impacted by ASI.
Right.
Like, it could lead to even more advanced AI systems.
Right.
It could personalize education.
Okay.
It could help us explore space more effectively. And it could make our cities smarter.
Okay. So it's like kind of a feedback loop.
Yeah, it could be.
Right.
It could be a feedback loop where ASI leads to even more advanced technologies.
Okay. So I think one of the things that people are really worried about is, what happens to jobs in a world with ASI?
Yeah, that's a big concern.
Like, what will people do?
So a lot of experts think that ASI could automate a lot of the jobs that humans currently do.
Right.
And some people think that could lead to mass unemployment and social unrest.
Right.
But other people are more optimistic.
Okay.
They think that ASI could actually create new jobs that we haven't even thought of yet.
Okay, so like jobs that are focused on managing or interacting with AI?
Exactly.
Or like totally new industries?
Yeah, totally new industry.
Okay, but either way.
Yeah.
It sounds like we need to rethink.
Rethink work.
Yeah. Like, what is work in a world with ASI?
What does it mean to have a job?
Right.
What does it mean to be productive?
Right.
These are all big questions.
Yeah. And I think it's important to focus on the skills that humans are really good at.
Right.
Like, creativity. Critical thinking. Emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Because those are things that AI might not be able to replicate.
Right. At least not for a while.
Okay. So, shifting gears a bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the geopolitical implications of all this. Because it sounds like ASI could really shift the balance of power.
Yeah, it definitely could.
In the world.
Yeah.
So our sources talk about this global AI race.
Right. It's like a new kind of arms race.
Yeah.
But instead of nukes, it's AI.
Right. And it's like whoever gets ASI first might have a huge advantage.
A huge advantage, yeah.
Economically. Militarily.
Politically. Everything.
Right.
And this is creating a lot of tension between countries.
Yeah.
Especially between the U.S. and China.
Right, because they're both investing heavily in AI.
They're both trying to be the leader.
Right.
And this is kind of creating a new Cold War.
Yeah, a technological Cold War.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And where does Germany fit into all this?
So Germany wants to be a major player in AI.
Okay.
Like they want to be the leader in Europe.
Okay.
And they're putting a lot of money into research and development.
Okay, but our sources also say that they're not investing as much as the U.S. or China.
Right, that's right.
Okay, so they're behind in the race.
They're a little bit behind, yeah.
Okay, and one thing that's interesting is that Germany seems to be taking a different approach to AI than, say, the U.S.
Yeah, they're really focused on the ethical implications, and they want to make sure that AI is developed responsibly.
Right, so they're not just focused on, being first.
No, they're thinking about the long-term consequences.
Right, right.
And they're trying to make sure that AI benefits everyone.
Okay, so I guess it's like
yeah.
a more cautious approach.
Yeah, a more cautious and ethical approach.
Okay, and I guess it's also worth noting that Germany's a big economic partner with China.
Right.
So they have to be careful.
Yeah, they have to balance their economic interests with their security concerns.
Right. Okay, and then what about the military side of things?
So Germany is a bit more hesitant about using AI for military purposes.
Okay.
But they also realize that they need to keep up with other countries.
Right.
So they're starting to invest more in military AI.
Okay.
But they're still trying to do it in a responsible way.
Right. So it's like a delicate balance.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
Okay. So let's zoom out again.
Yeah.
And talk about the UN.
Okay.
What role does the UN see for itself in all of this?
So the UN is really trying to get ahead of this.
Right.
They're recognizing that AI, and especially ASI, could be a huge game changer.
Right.
And they're trying to establish some international guidelines.
Okay, so it's not just like every country for themselves.
Right. They're trying to get everyone on the same page.
Okay.
Because they realize that ASI is a global issue that affects everyone.
Right.
So they've set up this high-level advisory body on AI to, study the issue and make recommendations.
Okay, so they're taking it seriously.
Yeah, they're definitely taking it seriously.
Okay, and what kind of things are they focused on?
So they're looking at a bunch of different things, like how to prevent AI bias.
Right.
How to make sure AI is used for good and not for harm.
Right.
And how to ensure that humans remain in control.
Right.
So they're really trying to think about all the potential consequences.
Yeah. And I guess they're also trying to figure out how to use AI to solve global problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Like climate change. Poverty.
All these big things.
Yeah, they're seeing AI as a potential tool to help us address some of these challenges.
Okay, so it sounds like the UN is trying to walk this tightrope.
Yeah, they're trying to balance the risks and the opportunities.
Right.
And they're trying to make sure that AI is used for the benefit of humanity.
Okay. And they've also done some surveys.
Yeah, they've done some global surveys.
To get people's opinions.
Yeah, to see what people are thinking about AI.
Right.
And what their concerns are. Okay, and there's this report that they put out.
Yeah, the Governing AI for Humanity report.
Yeah.
That's their big, roadmap for how to govern AI.
Okay, and what are some of the key takeaways from that?
So one big thing is that they're calling for international cooperation.
Okay.
They're saying that no one country can solve this problem alone.
Right.
And they're also saying that we need to start thinking about AI governance now.
Right, before it's too late.
Yes.
Okay. And they also talk about the potential need for a new international institution.
Right, if the risks from AI get really serious, we might need something more powerful than what we have now.
Okay, so it's like the UN is really trying to steer the ship. In the right direction.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's shift back to Germany for a second.
Yeah.
We talked about their overall strategy, but what are they actually doing?
So they're doing a lot of things.
Okay.
They're investing in research.
Yeah.
They're setting up AI competence centers.
Right.
They're promoting AI education.
Okay.
And they're working on ethical guidelines.
Okay, so they're covering all the bases.
They're trying to, yeah.
Okay.
They're trying to be comprehensive.
Right.
And they're really focused on this idea of responsible AI.
Okay.
AI that benefits society.
Right.
And that's reflected in their AI strategy.
Okay. And they've also got this ethics council.
Yeah, the German Ethics Council.
Which is advising the government on all these ethical issues.
Right. So they're taking ethics very seriously.
Okay. And I guess they're also working with the EU?
Yeah, they're working on EU-wide regulations.
Right, because this is a bigger issue than just Germany.
It's a global issue, yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to some of the more, I guess, philosophical questions around ASI.
Okay.
So we talked about the alignment problem earlier.
Yeah.
But can you maybe unpack that a bit more?
Yeah. So the alignment problem is basically how do we make sure that ASI does what we want it to do.
Right.
And not something that harms us.
Right.
And this is really hard.
Yeah.
Because, human values are really complex.
Yeah.
and it's hard to translate them into code.
Right. It's like, how do you program morality?
Exactly. How do you program morality into an AI?
Right, right.
And even if we could do that, how do we know that ASI will stick to those values as it gets smarter and smarter?
Right. It could just decide to ignore them.
It could decide that our values are stupid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's this whole question of consciousness and sentience.
Yeah, this is where it gets really philosophical.
Right.
Like, could ASI actually become conscious?
Right, like could it have feelings?
Could it feel things?
Right, yeah.
Could it have a sense of self?
Right, right.
And if it could, what would that mean for us?
Right, would it have rights?
Would it have rights?
Right, would we have to treat it differently?
Would we have to treat it differently?
Right, right.
These are all really deep questions.
Yeah, it's like we're on the verge of creating like a new form of life.
A new form of intelligence right now.
Okay, and then I guess the big one?
Yeah.
Existential risks?
Yeah, this is the scary stuff.
Right, like could ASI actually end humanity?
It's a possibility.
Okay.
Like if we lose control of ASI and its goals aren't aligned with ours, then things could get really bad.
Right, it could just decide that humans are
a problem.
Right, okay, so that's a pretty grim picture.
It's possibility.
Right, but it's not a certainty.
No, it's not a certainty.
Okay.
And a lot depends on the choices that we make now.
Right.
Like how we develop AI, what values we instill in it, and how we govern it.
Okay, so I think it's good to look at both sides of this. The potential benefits and the potential risks.
Right, so like on the positive side, ASI could help us solve all sorts of problems.
Right.
Like we could cure diseases.
Okay.
We could end poverty.
Right.
We could reverse climate change.
Right.
We could even achieve immortality.
Wow.
Yeah, it could be like a utopia.
Like a technological paradise?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but then on the flip side,
we could
lose control.
Right.
And end up in a dystopia.
In a dystopia.